dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yo, what's good, original crew? It's your boy DJ New Kid, your girl.
Sierra Nicole.
We're back on the channel with another TikTok story time for y'all today, man. We got tell me a story that happened at work that still has you shook. Y'all got any? Y'all got any stories, man? Hey, some of the best stories in life comes from your 9 to 5 because it's down there where you spend most of your time.
Right.
So you gonna always come, like, especially if you work like retail, customer service jobs, call center jobs, like places where you got to interact with multiple people. Like, it's different from having like a cubicle job where you might push paper, like an accounting job.
Yeah.
Like, even though you still might have stories, but like your stories ain't as in depth with like dealing with a lot of people. You know what I'm saying?
Personalities.
Yeah.
And attitude. And
ain't nothing like a call center job. Like retail. It depends on what retail job. Because if you got a high-end retail job, yeah, you still might deal with...
You do.
But call center and retail, like, totally different. Because retail, it's like face-to-face. You got it. But call center, they call it from all over the place. Yeah. So it's different. I've been there. Been at all of them. So anything you can think about interacting with it was... Girl, don't say same.
Same.
You ain't never been in restaurants?
You said retail and call center. And
I said I've been in all customer service jobs. You said.
And you said retail and customer service, and I said same.
You said.
Okay, minus the retail. I mean, minus the
same.
Restaurant. Minus the restaurant. But other than that, same. Child. Oh my God.
Oh man. With that being said, make sure y'all check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go, man. You want the first part, you gotta do it. Check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's video, lock it in with a thumbs up.
Please do that.
And y'all who work with kids, I feel for you, bro. I did that for a summer, and I would never do it again. I thought, like, you got some patience, but. Well, you can't really chastise kids. I ain't even talking about like
you gotta really have patience,
like
really
physical. But you can't even scold at kids. You can't be like, sit. You can't do none of that.
Can't do that.
So I'm like, hey, I ain't got time.
Most definitely.
Tell me a story that happened at work that still has you shook.
Someone tried to fly their dead relative's body back home without anybody noticing. So I used to work TSA at an airport in New York City, and at this point in my shift I was checking IDs, and so like where I'm standing is at the bottom of the ramp, and at the top of the ramp I hear like loud crying or whatever, but I like just brush it off because crazy shit happens in the airport every day. And so like they come down and this lady is in the wheelchair, literally bent in half. Her face is in her lap. And I'm like, you guys are gonna have to like lift her up or something. Like, can she sit up? Because I need to see her face in order to identify her. And they lift her up. Her eyes are not open, none of that. So I call the supervisor, and the supervisor takes it over to handle it. Next thing you know, EMTs are rushing in, the police are rushing in. This lady had been dead for 2 hours, and they were trying to get her back home without anybody noticing she was dead. I'm traumatized.
What? Tell me a story that happened.
I guess they was trying to get her back home.
Because they wanted to be able to, because
just 2 hours. They probably was already getting ready to head back, but she died. And they were like,
and then to like transport somebody's body like from city to that costs a lot. But I wonder like what was going on in their head, the reasoning for it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
did she die at the airport? Because sometimes some people get to the airport 2 hours early.
I hate you.
Work that still has you shook.
My coworker shit on the floor a couple of years ago in the office. She was walking from the kitchen holding a mug of coffee, walking at a fast clip. Miss Mama, don't walk fast nowhere. My other coworkers were walking shortly behind her, and they're just like, hey girl, you might want to slow down. You're dropping drops of coffee on the carpet. Plot twist. It wasn't coffee, it was shit. She was Hansel and Gretel dropping shit from the kitchen all the way to the bathroom, which was outside of our office. What gooped me, America, is that she did not leave early that day. She did not go home, take a shower, reevaluate her life, try to figure out why she got these badass guts. No, she took a whole bath in that public bathroom for about 20, 25 minutes, changed her clothes. Why she had to change her clothes, I will never fucking know. But she came back in the office like nothing happened.
Tell me a story that...
Some people keep a change of clothes, you know, you never know.
Baby, I gotta go home.
But no, I'm just saying, some
take
people...
me a full shower. Was she taking a little bird bath in the sink?
Yeah, she in the...
Baby.
Remember that time, the video I showed you, dude was in the sink and he was just... That black man came out there.
Oh, yeah. That's
he was waiting.
Don't remind me.
He watched everything.
Don't remind me.
I was like, oh, he at work. He had a whole bath at work. But, do you got a story? One thing that had me shook, right? Well, shook. What? That time I was at Shurion, right? And remember my supervisor, she went on maternity leave, right?
Yeah.
And we had like the little temp chick came in. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And everybody on my team, you know what I'm saying, didn't rock with her. So the first day she came, everybody dipped. Everybody like VTO, PT, they took their PT, they just left.
They left.
Those who had FMLA, I was the only one sitting there. I was just like, damn, bro, we still got 2-3 hours, bro. I'm like, and I told her, I talked to the chick and everything. I said, hey, you know, a lot of people, they just feel some type of way right now, you know, like don't take it personal, you know. Everybody gotta get used to it. But I'm here, you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to hold it down. I ain't judging. You know what the crazy she did? 2-3 weeks later, she was trying to get me fired. I'm like, bro, I was the one who tried to tell you, hey.
Left too.
I said, you know what?
That's people like that, you gotta know how to read people.
I said, that's crazy.
And that bad energy, because obviously it was for a reason.
I said, that's crazy. I said, shorty. And then, bro, tell me why the same chick, she had dipped for a little while, and she had came back. That's the one she had the boob job done. Remember? Yeah. And they said don't nobody know what happened, but somebody had told her to her face that the reason why she had to go get the boob job done is because she felt some type of way about the way she looked and she knew she was ugly. And I said, bruh. And everybody thought it was me. I said, what the hell made y'all think I'm that bold to tell some people like that in their face? I said, I ain't that crazy. Now, I might say some shit, but I ain't that crazy. And she really had to, and everybody was like, did you say that? I said, say what? They were like, you know you said. I said, I don't even know what y'all talking about. But yeah, she was trying to get me fired, bro. And I was just like, and the other girl, the one that actually said it got promoted somewhere else. I was like, damn.
And at work that still has you shook.
I have been guarding this story with my life for years. Okay, buckle up. So for the last 7 years, I have been a boudoir photographer. I photograph women and couples. I've seen it all. I've heard every request. It's normal to me at this point. A couple years ago, I was in another state teaching photographers how to shoot boudoir. After a client left, she almost immediately texted me back and said, hey, my husband's an amateur photographer. He would love to learn how to pose and photograph me better. We're staying in the same hotel as you. Could you come up tonight and teach us some things? We'll pay you. So I agree. And later that evening I show up and almost immediately the husband asks me, what would I have to pay you to photograph us? You know. And so that's not really boudoir, but I blurted out the most obscene amount I could think of and he agrees. So I'm standing in the corner waiting for things to kick off when they pull out a trunk from the closet. Okay, ignore what I look like. I just got done shooting, but if you're here for part 2, I'm ready to give it to you. So we were in this hotel. I'm in my corner with my camera, waiting for things to get going, when they pull a trunk out of the closet of a very fancy bi-level suite. And I could feel myself starting to sweat on the brink of a stage 5 meltdown. They open up the trunk and the world of exploration is inside. And I'm not a judgy person. I believe you do you. I photograph everything, but there were things in this trunk I didn't even know existed, okay? So I'm letting it soak in that this is my reality. Things get going, and after like 40 minutes go by, I look at my camera, I'm like, I've taken 900 photos. Surely we've got to be getting close to the end here. And he makes direct eye contact with me over in my corner, and he says, I need you to make sure that you're able to photograph her special talent. All right, welcome back to my nightmare. This is part 3. So he tells me he wants me to come closer so that I can photograph her special talent. I like inch my way closer until I'm basically standing right next to him. And you know how I kind of had a feeling things were about to be done? Yeah. When I tell you she explodes all over him, she shoots it past her own head, all over herself, all over my camera, but most importantly, all over me, all in my hair, all over my face. I essentially black out. I start running through the hotel room. I rip the door open, run down the hall. My hair and makeup artist runs after me because she was in the hallway. She's trying to figure out what happened. I give her my camera. She sees the pictures and she's like, oh my God, what happened? And so we're in our hotel room and she's like, but you got hella paid, right? Like it was worth it. And that's when I realized I didn't freaking invoice him. So I send him the invoice. We go to bed. I'm like praying for the best. And in the morning, I get this message. All right, so here's part 4.
Oh,
Baby,
Shorty, you gotta. Don't tell me you didn't get paid.
If she didn't get paid,
the first thing you do before y'all even get
that money.
Freaky, get your money, baby girl.
First, before I agree with anything, here's the price. You know my work. Here you go. And
these situations, because you are, you know what I'm saying, technically a 1099.
You gonna have to give me
You
half.
gotta get paid up front. Nah.
I thought you was about to say something else. Because I'm about to say you gonna at least have to give me,
Nah, I need my food.
But yeah, I need my food.
Before I even click up, you gotta give me food.
You gotta run me my money.
So I wake up the next morning and immediately check my phone, hoping that he's paid this invoice because the night before I ran from his hotel room practically screaming in terror and disbelief from my unwanted lady juice facial. So I check my phone and I have this mile-long text message from him basically detailing everything he knows about my life. My social security, my husband's social security number, where my little boy goes to school, where my hair and makeup artist husband owns a business. And he says, you have 2 hours to basically send me all my files for free or I'm going to go and I'm going to kill your whole families. I was like... What? So shocked and scared. I immediately email him every file I have for free. And I get an email from his wife a week later apologizing for her husband's behavior. You guys, I've been a boudoir photographer for 8 years. I have stories for days. If you want more, let me know in the comments.
Tell me a story that happened at work that still has you shook.
So I'm a medical assistant, and in the clinic I was working at back home, we had a patient that came in and he said, I have a hemorrhoid and it's starting to smell and it really hurts. So I told the doctor, and the doctor says, okay, well, we're going to pull him back and we're going to prep just to make sure, you know, we might have to drain it. He has me hold open the guy's butt. So I'm holding open this guy's butt and we see discharge and it has a really bad smell. Turns out the hemorrhoid ruptured and it started to abscess. So this guy had to have local anesthesia put into his butt so we could drain the abscess. I was holding open his butt the entire time. Before we put the needle into his butt, guess what happens?
Oh my God.
He clenches his ass cheeks on my fingers. My fingers were stuck in his butthole.
Tell me a story that happened.
These stories are wild.
Yo, my mind's still on the photographer one.
I ain't got nothing on these though. My work experience.
Yeah, I ain't got none. That's why my little stories would be like, girl, bye. Ciao.
Work that still has you shook. I'll go first. Simon.
I was a correctional officer for quite some time.
Ooh, I
had a gentleman who would not give me his spork back. Those can be dangerous. They can, make them into knives. So he would not take direction from a woman. He took all of his clothes off in his cell. He threw feces at me. He threw urine at me. So my lieutenant's like, go get the pepper spray. So I go get the pepper spray. I tell him 3 more times, give me back your spork. He won't do it. So I open the hatch and I go to deploy said pepper spray. And he puts his asshole directly in front of the hatch as So he got pepper sprayed in his asshole. Yeah. The part that still has me shook to this day, the sounds. It's like Silence of the Lambs. No shit. The screaming that came from this man. But guess what? He gave me a spork back every time.
Tell me a story that happened at work that still has you shook.
Guy comes up to the ER with his mother in the car and says, hey, something's wrong with my mother. So we're in this small 5-bed ER, and my buddy Rodney and I are outside bullshitting. And he's smoking a cigarette, sticks his head in the car, comes back, takes a drag off his cigarette, blows the smoke out, looks his head back into the car and says, "Yo mama dead." So anyway, we get the whole story. They get in a fight earlier in the day. She stops and he thinks that she's pouting. And anyways, he loads her up into the car, puts her into the front seat. Not even the worst part of it. He goes through the McDonald's drive-thru with his dead mother in the car. So the funeral home shows up, loads her up into the car, and he's out there having a cigarette with Rodney, eating a double cheeseburger. So yeah, I'm shook.
Tell me a story that happened at work that still has you shook.
So I used to be a nursing aide and worked in a nursing home, and there was this girl I worked with. We'll call her Jen because that was her name. She was already on everybody's shit list because she always called out and claimed to have cancer, which, hey, if you have cancer, you're sick, you need time off, fine. But as it turns out, she didn't have cancer at all. But that's not even the worst part. She was actually stealing jewelry from dead bodies, dead residents, and from dementia patients. She was putting lotion on their hands and slipping off their jewelry and stealing it. So this went on for a long time, and we all got spoken to, saying this nursing home's getting known for being a place where grandma's things come up missing. So one day this little old lady confided in me and told me Jen came in her room in the middle of the night and said, "I need to take your jewelry. There's a thief in the building." Well, the little old lady and I reported her to management and the police, and she got fired.
Tell me a story that happened at...
She should have went to jail, not just fired, though. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Another story.
Heard some stories.
Another story I got is the situation at Buffalo Wild Wings. I don't know if y'all heard it or not. I told you about it. They got the fight in that time because the girl just had the baby. What did you say, about 2-3 weeks? Weeks ago, she had her newborn baby out, and this one Buffalo Wild Wings used to be like crowded to the teeth.
She had the baby
at Buffalo Wild Wings,
yeah.
And she just had the baby in her hand, and literally it was a Tuesday night. It was just standing room only.
Yeah.
And we probably had people had to wait there. It was like 6-7 o'clock.
Yeah.
And people was having to wait like 2-3 hours for a seat, and we was like, "Yo, y'all need to leave. Like we ain't got enough space." But the dude came up. He was like, "Why you got my baby out here? You just had my."
Oh, the baby. Oh.
The baby was only 2-3 weeks old.
The baby daddy came.
The baby daddy came, and the baby. I was in the kitchen. I'm just like, the next thing you know, he hit her while she holding the baby, and you know the kitchen's slippery as hell. And somebody had to yank the baby because she fell on the ground, and next thing you know, a whole brawl fight.
Who else was fighting?
Just some of everybody, because
they
they were like,
"Why people? Because why you hit her
why
with
you
the
hit
baby
her?" And then I just was like, I was like, "Bruh, I ain't from this town. Y'all do y'all." And 30 minutes later, here come the supervisor. "Y'all can go home. Y'all can go home." I said, "Shit, say no more, bruh. I ain't want to be here in the first place."
Wow.
I was like, "This just too ghetto for me anyway, bruh. I don't like this environment.
Like, I'm traumatized.
I don't want to be here anyway." I was just like, "Bro, you had to hit your baby mama while she holding your
the
baby."
Things that he would have done in private. That's sad.
And I'm like, the baby,
in public,
but to be real, she shouldn't have been out in public.
Yeah, most definitely.
Especially
but that still don't give you the right to do that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I was just like, I said, damn. I said, y'all look ghetto around this bitch, bro. And from then on, I told them never put me on that, like those nights. I said, don't work me. And then they used to try to
Tuesday.
Yeah, they used to try to get me to work. I used to be like, y'all got to double pay me, and they would double pay me.
That's crazy.
I said, I'm not.
That still has you shook.
Years ago, I recorded this rap crew, and they'd bring this kid in with them, maybe 9 or 10 years old, from a rough neighborhood, had a rough life. And the leader of the crew was kind of mentoring, trying to be a big brother for the kid. It was really sweet, and the kid had so much fun every time he was in the studio, but I could tell he had a heavy heart, and I always wanted to slow down and ask him more about his life and ask him how he was, but it never felt like the time or place to do it. It felt like I'd bring the vibe down, and they were trying to write and record, and plus I assumed the mentor guy was checking in on him. I don't have much time, so I'll just get right to it. I hadn't seen them for a couple weeks, and then they came in without the kid, and they said that he'd committed suicide. Within the next year or so, some dark stuff was uncovered about the leader of the crew, and I won't get into the details here, but he also took his own life in front of his family. I know that's not on me, but it taught me that there is never a wrong time to look someone in the eye and ask them how they're doing. I don't care what the vibe of the moment is like or how tough that person seems.
Tell me a story that happened at work that still has you shook.
I'm on my way to hospice to anoint a dying patient, and right before I get there, they die. I mean, minutes. They die right before I get there. My heart just sinks. And I'm like, can I please just go there? Can I pray with the family? Can I go anoint the body? And so I go, I pray with the family, and I'm like, I'm just going to anoint. I'm going to anoint them and trust in the power of the sacrament. I anoint the body, I pray with the family, and I leave. Now, like 20 minutes after this, my pastor, who received the same sick call, didn't know that I took it. He went to the place, right, to go anoint her, and when he came, she was alive. The nurses, the doctors are freaking out. He runs in there, and he anoints her while she's alive. And after she's the anointing, she dies again. I mean, he literally resurrected her so she could receive the sacrament while she was alive. Like, he is so good.
Tell me a story that happened at work that still has you shook.
Or she came back to life because of you.
Why was
I'm just like...
I can't take nothing serious.
Because my thing is, you could have blessed her, you know what I'm saying? You put blessings on her. But then when the pastor came late, she said, oh, hell no.
Oh, my God.
You get what I'm going?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, man.
When the pandemic started, my job kind of shut down, so I started running an experiment. Now, prior to the pandemic, I'd spent 10 or more years consulting on culture, neuroscience, and engagement, but I'd always been curious about validation. Now, validation is simply being heard, seen, or recognized for something you contributed to, being able to see that in yourself or having other people do it for you. Now, for this very unscientific experiment, we ended up getting about 150 people, and they asked one simple question to the other person, and that is, what went well in the last week because of you? And what was shocking and heartbreaking was how many people couldn't answer or broke down during the answer because they had never been asked that kind of a question before, which means they likely went days, weeks, or months without even being recognized for what they contribute. And it's hard to comprehend the amount of loneliness that can be behind that. And 10 months later, my business is no longer about engagement. It's about validation.
Tell me a story that happened at work that still has you shook.
Hi, I'm Jenna, and I'm Danny, and we work at a butcher shop called Rancho Cadima Meat Processing, or Custom Meats. So one day, we were killing this goat, and to kill a goat in sheep, we cut their heads off because it's the fastest way to do it. I had this goat's head in my hand, and this little fucker stood up and starts walking around our shop, like walking around here, headless. I screamed very loud. Jenna laughed, but I was screaming because that's not normal. Yeah, A, that's not normal, and B, it was kind of creepy. But so yeah, that's our story of work experience. That has us shit. Yep. Thank you for coming to Rancho Cadima Meat Processing.
Tell me you've been single a long time.
I might swipe off of it. Right? You just like, I don't want to see the damn meat.
I ain't want to see the meat hanging up there, and I ain't want to hear that story either. My goodness.
I ain't bothered by it.
This is...
Hey, man, with that being said, I don't think C got those stories, though, for real.
Do I? I don't think I do.
I don't think you do. Like
no crazy stories.
Not no like wild
not like
out crazy
this.
type
Like I got
stories.
stories, but not like this.
Nah.
Not like these type that was going in this direction.
Like not even like as more as traumatic as mine.
No.
Because the one I told you the other day was real funny. Because you just had to beat her on the call, the woman, about trying to put the tracking on her.
Oh, yeah, child.
That's a different story.
That's a different type of story, yeah.
But it was funny, and it was just like, bro...
Yeah, I don't have any stories that have you like shook or anything like that.
Nah.
I can't think of anything.
Not just the times that I done got cussed out on the phones and stuff. Like I've been called a cupcake on the phone. I've been told, you know what I'm saying. One dude, he was really testing me. He was testing, and we just ended up just hanging up on him.
But yeah, I don't think I have anything. No. As soon as we cut this, I'm gonna be like, I remember this story. Not
besides the chick. The other story was the chick, you know what I'm saying? She was AKA, you know, she was just, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, see,
she thought she was...
That's a little different.
But every day she was stinking.
Okay,
every day?
Let's go ahead and wrap it up.
And she used to walk on... And I just be like,
let's go ahead and wrap it up, babe.
Oh, that time.
You got another one?
The white guy, they tried to come at me, and he was on some R stuff, though. On some racism type stuff, though. He really lashed out at me, and after that, a week later, he quit.
That guy. Yeah, I remember that. That's a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, man. So with that being said, y'all spam what's up. Hit us with some story times in the comment section down below. These are some wild stories.
I'm still shook off the photographer one though.
Yeah, I ain't never
that
had
one.
Yeah. And I would never go through nothing like that. But it's always. I do go by the name DJ Do Kid This Is.
Here the coast.
We are.
Kid This Is.
Yeah, y'all.
Ain't no time to kick it, got a stack of flip for my folks.